She's the queen of the screen, Teresa's the name. CriminaliTy, bringing fire, she's changing the game. From the mic to the cam, she's dropping it raw. Every vid that she makes got the crowd in awe. CriminaliTy, yeah, she's the boss, no stress. Cool and genuine, she's the best of the best. Teresa's got the vibe, make it ignite. Let's dance to her rhythm, cause she's taking the mic. Real talk, she's the truth, no cap, she's legit. Every story she tells, y'all, it's always a hit. From the heart to the screen, she's keeping it true. CriminaliTy's the star and she's coming for you. So turn it up loud, let the whole world see. Teresa CriminaliTy, you're the VIP. This is your intro, let the crowd cheer. The queen's in the house, yo, Teresa's right here. Beat fades out with reggaeton demo rhythm.
One more time.
She's the queen of the screen, Teresa's the name. CriminaliTy, bringing fire, she's changing the game. From the mic to the cam, she's dropping it raw. Every vid that she makes got the crowd in awe. CriminaliTy, yeah, she's the boss, no stress. Cool and genuine, she's the best of the best. Teresa's got the vibe, making it ignite. Let's dance to her rhythm, cause she's taking the mic. Real talk, she's the truth, no cap, she's legit. Every story she tells, y'all, it's always a hit. From the heart to the screen, she's keeping it true. CriminaliTy's the star and she's coming for you. So turn it up loud, let the whole world see. Teresa CriminaliTy, you're the VIP. This is your intro, let the crowd cheer. The queen's in the house, yo, Teresa's right here. Beat fades out with reggaeton demo rhythm.
Okay, that is amazing.
How are you?
So amazing. I'm smiling so much I have like tears in my eyes. I love that. When you get on there and you're like dancing, I'm like, that is so perfect. I love it.
I have my moves.
I like it. It was good. It was good.
I'm glad you like it. How are you, Teresa?
I am so good. Thank you so much for having me. I love your channel. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you so much for being here. I imagine you are exhausted, tired. You just did a marathon of like 5 hours, right?
That's about almost 6.
Oh my God.
That's okay. I've got a full supply of Dr. Pepper. I'm ready to do it.
Cool. Thank you so much, Teresa. So I'm so excited. Looking forward for this live together. So maybe if you can tell us something about you, something about your channel. How did you start your channel? Something about you.
Sure. So I do have to say, Sleuthy in chat said if that was a marriage proposal, I would have said yes, and that is 100% accurate. So I just want to put that out there. That was so good. Something about me. Let's see. I am a mom of 3, 2 teenagers and a tiny human. I was a retail manager for over almost 25 years, and I quit and went back to college to get my degree in criminology. So I have a bachelor's in criminology with a minor in forensics and an associate's in psychology. So I did that while I was on YouTube. I used to co-host another channel, and when that went south, I started CriminaliTy and was doing it once a week on Fridays while I was doing all my schoolwork. And then now here we are, about 3 years later. Wow, that's awesome.
And your channel started with Delphi, or it was something totally unrelated?
No. Just true crime in general. So I covered Delphi on that channel that I was on prior. But I think my first case on CriminaliTy was a young girl named Serenity McKinney. But I've covered a lot of different cases. Any case. It's definitely not a Delphi channel. I think it became more of a Delphi like focus point just because I was so intrigued. And anything I really end up doing on YouTube is only because I'm just so interested in it that I can't let it go. So when I do a case for like a super long time, like Delphi, where it was, and then plus we were getting documents like back to back to back. I had so many questions. I couldn't make up my mind on what I thought happened. So when I went back to covering Delphi, when I was actually covering the Idaho 4 case, and the attorneys were fighting, the Idaho 4 attorneys were fighting to keep cameras out of the courtroom. And I got the motion from Andrew Baldwin requesting to have cameras in the courtroom for Delphi. And I was like, defense attorneys don't normally ever want cameras in the courtroom. Like, something has to be going on over there. And I was like, let's just go take a peek. Because I was originally of like they got the guy, let's just see what they've got on him. I wasn't like convinced he did it, but I was like, good. I was like, okay, I had a lot more trust in law enforcement. I was like, let's just see what they've got on this guy and we'll go from there. So I kind of left Delphi and was doing other stuff until that. And I was like, something funky's happening here. So that was like in June, July, I think, of 2023. And then by September, we got the Franks memo. And then I was like all in, because I was like, what are we talking about? So we covered Delphi for a long time, but we cover we watch trials together. We do trial recaps together. I mean, it's kind of just whatever. It's whatever we have time to do.
Wow. And tell us about your dynamic with Sleuthy Goosey, because you do like a great combo. How did that started? What's the story behind that?
That's actually funny that you asked that question, because her and I were actually talking about this the other day. So I was like, I stalked her and found her and grabbed her and made her part of my life. And she's like, that's not true. She's like, I think I just showed up. And I'm like, that's absolutely not true. You didn't just show up. It was like meant to be. So back when it was a case in Georgia on Quentin Simon. Yeah, we literally just talked about this. And she had made a spreadsheet, and she put the spreadsheet on Twitter. And so, and I was covering the Quentin Simon case. And so somebody's like, hey, you need to look at this spreadsheet. And so I'm much better at it now, but I'm still not a huge person on Twitter, but she's mostly Twitter. So I went and I was looking at her spreadsheet, and somebody had made a comment on there, like talking crap about the spreadsheet, saying like, hey, you need to add like citations. We don't know if any of this is accurate, or something along those lines in her comment section. And then the next time I go and look at this spreadsheet, Sleuthy, because it was like, I mean, it was a spreadsheet. It was just a basic spreadsheet. It had like dates, it had stuff that happened, and like who the people were. And then she was just like it was like a glow up all of a sudden. She was like, you guys want more info? Like, I'll give you more info. And this new Quentin Simon spreadsheet had like tabs, it had like court documents, it had links to every article where she'd gotten the information from. She was just like, I will show you what a spreadsheet looks like, that you guys want to talk crap about my spreadsheets. And from that point on, I was like, I love spreadsheets and I love her. And then Kylie Rodney went missing from Northern California. I don't know if you're familiar with these cases, but some people in chat might be. And we ended up on a panel together on another channel. And I was just like, yeah, this is like, we're friends now. Like, that's how it is.
Oh, awesome. You are like Batman and Robin, for real.
I'm her Robin. Don't be confused. I am definitely her Robin. She runs that shit. I just push a button and she's like, I've got this under control.
Awesome. So I'm very repetitive in this channel. I'm always asking the same questions to my guests.
Okay.
Because as you said, this case is so, I don't know how to call it. There's a lot of unanswered questions, and I would like to know your opinion about my questions. You know what I mean? But first thing, do you have any theory about the case? Any hypothesis? Or not at all?
I do. I don't have people necessarily, because I think that the positions can be interchanged, but I do believe that the girls went there with the intention of meeting up with their friends from school. I don't have like I said, you can interchange it with anybody you want. It could be Logan Holder, just friends in general. They were going there to hang out with their friends. Everybody says like, oh, nobody knew that they were even going. Well, the family may not have known, but that was the girls' plan, because they had messaged their friends about it the night before. Like in the middle of the night, they were asking, people to meet them there, and if they were going to be there. Some said yes, some said no. And then I believe that they went there to hang out with these people. I believe that they were triangulated somewhere near the end of the bridge. I think there was at least 3 people involved, one coming from the north side of the bridge and at least two at the south side of the bridge, either one by the crime scene area or one over on like Brad Weber's Drive. So I believe they were triangulated, and I think it's a good possibility that they were kept for a little while. And then I don't believe that some of the people that, like Sarah Carbaugh, who says she saw like muddy, bloody guy walking down 300 North, I think that's not accurate at all. But I think they were triangulated and kept somewhere for a certain amount of time, and then I believe that they were killed. I think they were made to undress. I think they probably undressed themselves, and I think that Libby was killed, and then Abby was told to redress, and that was the only clothes that were left, and that's what she put on, and and then they killed her. I do like Todd Click's theory that we were reading yesterday in the transcripts, that if they had gone there with Logan Holder, were they essentially watching some type of Odinist ceremony, not necessarily sacrifice, and they laughed and thought it was like goofy, and that pissed off people who are very serious about their Norse paganism. So I think it's a very good theory, but I at least believe that there was at least 3 people, and I believe they were triangulated and kept wherever they were for a while.
And in that type of scenario, who would be the people conducting or performing that type of ritual? Johnny Messer, Brad Holder?
See, this is why I say I think that you can interchange some of these people. If you dig into a lot of people in that area, I mean, even in that neighborhood, there are practicing Norse paganists living next to the Weber house. So it's really tough for me to say, I think this is the person who did it. Do I think it was Brad Holder? Do I think it was Patrick Westfall? I don't know. For the instance when it comes to like those people in particular, it could have been a really easy job for law enforcement to clear these people, and they just didn't do it. They don't have Patrick Westfall's alibi. He's just like, oh, I was hanging out at home. Okay, thanks, sir. Like, they don't go to prove anything about what he did. They talk about like Brad Holder's alibi, but nobody even bothered to go pick up the video that the lady told them they could have. So like, there's things like that. Like, I don't know if I think it's those people. I think it could be, and I think that law enforcement really dropped the ball on just ruling them out instead of just saying like, oh yeah, it wasn't them. They could have actually done their job and proven it wasn't them. Like, oh, okay, obviously here's Holder. We see him driving out of the landfill at 4 o'clock. We don't think that he's involved because now we have him at 4:30 over here at Anytime Fitness, and then we have him on camera here at such and such time. But the reality is that they really decided what they believed this crime scene was. The ones who ended up being in charge later, and I mean that like as a Doug Carter, a Jerry Holman, a Tony Liggett, all the ones who ended up in the big powerful positions and were able to remove the people who didn't agree with them, like the FBI. They already wanted it to be whatever they wanted it to be, and that was it. So they just didn't care about the rest.
Yeah, so you think that those guys, they were not properly investigated, maybe?
I know, absolutely. They're 100%. I don't think anybody was properly investigated.
It was very suspicious that when Todd Click went to talk to Jerry Holman, if I remember properly, Brad Holder was waiting in the waiting room at that moment. That was really weird. No?
They scheduled that on purpose. They did that on purpose to make sure that Click saw Holder there for sure.
It's like if they were trying to send him a message or something like that. It was really weird. And what is your position about Richard Allen? You firmly believe that he's innocent, or you just don't know, or what is your idea about him in this case?
As of this live right now, I firmly believe he is innocent.
Okay.
That took a long time to get to, but I do. At this point in time, I don't think he had anything to do with it.
All right. If I ask you about some potential suspects here in this case, I want to know, what do you think about that? Some
Okay.
people, they firmly believe that Ron Logan was involved in this case somehow. What's your opinion about that? What do you think about Ron Logan being a potential actor here?
So I'm going to try not to be repetitive because, like, in my theory, I think that the people involved can very well be interchanged. Now, there's people who are more likely to be interchanged than others. So, is it possible that Ron Logan is one of those people? Yeah, I believe so. Yes, I believe it is very possible that Ron Logan could be one of those people that triangulated the girls and had them wherever he was.
All right. And what about Keegan Klein? My channel is full Keegan Klein. I'm firmly positive. I'm convinced that Keegan Klein was the mastermind of this crime. But this is just my opinion. That's the way I connect the dots in this case. But what do you think about about that? I think that some people, they just underestimate Keegan Klein. To me, this guy is really dangerous, and there are a lot
He
of
is dangerous.
coincidences here that I cannot disconnect Keegan Klein from this crime, and I want to know what's your takeaway, your opinion about Keegan in this case.
So I'll go with. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna try not to be repetitive, but he could be. I struggle with Keegan Klein, and I'm gonna tell you why I struggle with Keegan Klein. If Keegan Klein was climbing up and down any of these trails in Delphi, Indiana, I firmly believe that Keegan Klein would still be at the bottom of that hill. I don't think that he physically was able to do that terrain. I just don't. Now, interestingly enough, you know, he actually says that he was sitting in the Jeep while his dad was out there, and his dad was doing whatever his dad was doing. You know, and his dad had the limp and so on and so forth. Now, is that, why would he sit in the car for 2 hours? I don't know. That's kind of weird. But is that possible? I would actually lean more towards that. My problem with Keegan Klein is a piece of shit. Like, and I'm sorry, I don't know if you cuss on here, but
No,
he is.
sure,
He's a POS. And he's obviously not a good guy. But does that make him the killer? I don't know. Now, is there something to that he was going to go out there and meet those girls? Like, Holman still, even after trial and interviews, says that he believes that they were going out there to meet Anthony Schatz. Well, Keegan Klein wasn't going to meet them. He wasn't ever going to, because then he loses his control as Anthony Schatz, because then they know that he's a catfish. So that's not going to happen, you know, especially if they're not really asking him to. Then you have the situation of, does he just tell him to go out there, or does he just say, like, hey, I'm going to be there? If they had that, if Holman really had that interaction between them, why hasn't anybody ever talked about that? Where's that at? They could never prove it. So that doesn't exist. So it's just Holman's conjecture, which I don't trust, because I don't trust Holman.
Yeah, for sure. I think just that the whole situation with the Wabash River after the confession of Keegan Klein is just too coincidental. So Keegan Klein, he confessed at the Grissom Air Force Base. Then we have the Wabash River search, and then we have the arrest of Richard Allen. So it's like too coincidental. I don't know. But
that was always interesting, was the timing that they interviewed him in August of 2022, and then all of a sudden in October of 2022 we have an arrest. So that's also interesting to me. Like, there's a lot of timing things that, and I think I mentioned this on the live earlier on my channel too. It's like, how many coincidences are really still a coincidence?
Yeah,
I don't know. And I know somebody in chat like said, like, Keegan Klein was smaller in 2017. he was smaller, but that he still was not. He was not, in my opinion, in the shape to be going up and down and sticking around that terrain. I just don't think he was. I don't think he could have done it.
Yeah, no,
now,
but
unlike Ron Logan, who, even though he's older, is extremely physically fit for his age and was able to do anything on that terrain. I just don't think. I think Keegan Klein would have struggled. He would have struggled a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you. But for Keegan Klein to participate in the crime, he doesn't have to go to kill the girls. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe he was just waiting in that car, as he said, as he
Mhm.
confessed. And I don't know, when you see the pictures and the videos of Keegan Klein at the time of the murders, he used to go to hike with his father. He used to go to parties. So he's not the guy that we think he's behind the computer, the fat guy, just sit
That
the
was
whole
like
day.
years prior. No, am I remembering that incorrectly?
Or yeah, around that time, I guess. But
I
I
thought it
get
was like years prior. Okay.
I get your point, anyways. So yeah, that's interesting, anyways.
Can I answer a question in chat real quick? Or yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So somebody asked, like, when I said I don't trust Holman. I've said for now what 2 years that I think this whole case comes down to trust. And so I don't trust Nick McClellan, and I don't trust Jerry Holman, and I don't trust Tony Liggett. I don't trust those people. I don't trust them as investigators. I don't trust them as human beings. Now, does that mean that I automatically trust the defense team? No, it doesn't mean that I just buy what they're selling. But what actually got me off of whether I thought he was innocent or guilty was the interrogation videos. Actually watching him talk. Because even after trial, when he was found guilty, I was like, I really thought we were going to have a hung jury, to be honest with you. I thought we'd have a hung jury, but I was still, I wouldn't say on the fence. I was more like leaning on the fence that they did not have the evidence to prove his guilt. They just did not have the evidence to prove his guilt. I don't know how a jury found him guilty, but I wasn't firm on whether he was innocent or guilty, like factually innocent or guilty. When we watched the interrogation videos of him, I was done. That was it for me. The fact that he was trying to give them information and they were purposely trying to give him different information to give that they wanted him to give them. I was like, this is it. I'm done. I actually believe he had nothing to do with it. And I believe, like, now I have to look at the whole thing in a different way and see how did we get here. So I really did not believe he was innocent until I watched him talk. So I just want to put that out there. I don't trust anybody.
Yeah, me neither. I don't trust anyone from that unified command. I don't know, Jerry Holman and John Liggett, and oh my God, I agree with you. And when I see the interviews of or the interrogatory of Richard Allen, I don't see any sign of deception there. He's never making any contradictions. He's always, I don't know, telling the same story. So yeah, I understand. When I see Richard Allen in that interrogatory or in that interviews, I cannot see any sign of deception at all.
Mhm.
And I remember Jerry Holman feeding Richard Allen some information. Like I remember when he was telling him, we found the bullet, or I don't know, 6 feet away from the bodies of the girls, something like that, feeding information to Richard Allen. So yeah, I can understand your thoughts about that. One of the questions I have here always: what do you think about the fact that Abby was redressed with Libby's clothes? What's your opinion about that, or your theory, if you have one? What do you think happened there?
I don't know. It's just so weird.
It's weird.
Obviously, she was more taken care of in the end by having her dressed. I don't think she's dressed post-mortem. I know that was kind of put out in the Frank's memo that they believe that the perpetrator dressed her. I don't think so. I think they had her dress herself, and she only could put on whatever clothes were left. That's where I'm at, or just whatever was on the top of the pile, if you will, like something along those lines. I don't think that, and I just don't know why. I would love to know why. Why have her be dressed and not have Libby be dressed? And does that in turn make Libby the target because we're okay with embarrassing her more, or does it make Abby the target because we loved Abby more? Like there's some psychological things behind that I can see go either way. And And then if you go with if you want to go with like an Odinist or Norse paganist type of ritual, what does the dressing have to do with anything? Is it that they were taken with, there's a group of people, but two different people dealt with each girl. So did they treat them differently? I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on it. I just don't know.
Yeah, same here. Same here. It's still a mystery for me. It's not easy to find out. It's still running in my mind, that question.
Well, what do
And
you think? Are you going to answer all these too? Like, I want to know your thoughts.
I really don't know. I don't know.
I just don't know. Yeah.
No, I maybe one thing that I think it makes sense is, but we're gonna go there soon. Remember the confession of, or the testimony of Reese Davis. He said that Keegan Klein, he confessed to him about the crime, but we're gonna go there. And one possible explanation is that they wanted to move Abby out of the area. They wanted to take Abby like inside a car to go out, and it would be weird to have Abby naked, So that's why Keegan and the other guy that was there, I don't know if it was, I don't know, Ron Logan or Tony Klein, they redressed Abby to take her out of the area, because it would be very weird to have a naked girl inside a car. So that was Reese Davis said. So it makes sense, but we know that Keegan Klein is a liar. So who knows? I don't know.
Keegan Klein he's such a pathological liar. You never know. You'd have to have something to be able to back up anything he said. So I guess my question would be, did they actually take Abby out of the area, or was that just the intent, which was why they got her dressed?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we don't know. Let's see.
Can't believe anything Keegan says. So it makes it really hard to decipher. You have to have any type of evidence to back him up. And they spent a lot of money to try to back up his lies. It didn't do him any good.
Yeah, the only time that I think we can say that he was telling the truth is when he made the confession at the Grissom Air Force Base. Why do I think so? We as YouTube creators, as viewers, as YouTubers, I don't know, we cannot make the difference when Keegan Klein is lying or not. We cannot know that. But when he was doing or making that confession at the Grissom Air Force Base, he was under the how can I say? He was. They did a polygraph, you know what I mean? And I don't think that Nick McClelland and the whole Indiana State Police unit, I don't think that they would spend a lot of time and a lot of money doing that search of the Wabash River if they didn't find any truth in the Keegan Klein's testimony. So I think that a polygraph would maybe be the solution to this type of question. You know what I mean? That's my thinking, because I don't think that Keegan Klein is that smart to make a polygraph to fail. You know what I mean?
Right. So in part of what he confesses to them is that him and his dad threw a knife and a cell phone off of the bridge into the Wabash River. Right? Is that during that confession, or was that a different time?
That's what I understand, but we don't know we don't have the transcripts of that confession. That's the story that the murder sheet told us. So I don't know what were they looking for in that river. It makes sense that they were looking for some type of weapon or cell phone. But
they did say they ended up finding a lot of phones. They did find a lot of knives, and that I think they said they found a couple of guns. I'm still very curious. I've always wondered, like, were they able to match any of the stuff they did find to any other crimes to make that search financially worth it? I don't think that's ever come up. Like, I don't think anybody from Indiana's never said like, hey, I know so-and-so who got, went to trial or got arrested based on something that was found during the, Wabash River search.
Yeah. My theory is that they made a negotiation, a deal with Keegan Klein. That's what I think, but who knows? I think that
if they made a deal with Keegan Klein in order to give up anything on Richard Allen, do you think that we wouldn't know that? Why do you think that would have been sealed? I guess would be my big question. Like, why wouldn't they just make that public? Like, Keegan Klein gave us a tip and this is what it was, and it led us to getting all this other evidence.
Because I think that the main thing here is the Dropbox. I think that someone with power is in that Dropbox. So Keegan has some information about someone with power in that town. So they made a deal with Keegan Klein. So law enforcement, they are not interested in publishing that information. That's what I think. And again, it's me connecting the dots. You know what I mean?
Right.
To me, the solution is the Dropbox. Someone close to law enforcement, someone with power in that town is involved in that.
I think it's possible. I think that's very possible that somebody that shouldn't be involved is involved. I guess my question would be then, so Vito, during the 3-day hearing testimony, said that he tried to connect the Allens with the Kleins and was unable to. So that one's kind of tough for me. I mean, like I said, I don't trust the people. Are they lying under oath? I mean, shoot, I don't put anything past anybody, but that makes it a little bit more reliable, if you will. And then you have like Kathy Shank, who is like a martyr in this whole thing, just saying like, I found the tip in my filing cabinet box inside my drawer. So that's where it came from. I almost feel like they wasted so much taxpayer money on the Wabash River search that they were like, we need an arrest, and we need an arrest now in order to make this a politically okay move that we spent so much money and wasted so much money on this case. We can show that is irrelevant and we've got our guy. Go find us somebody that would work. And I think they grabbed Richard Allen right out of the stack and were like, Kathy, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That whole lost tip is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Is I cannot buy that whole lost tip scenario. That's crazy. So
nothing was lost. It was sitting right there.
Come on.
Right.
We were not born yesterday, for sure. And they're not going to investigate that. They just makes me mad, for real.
Yep.
So another repetitive question I have here in my channel is about the sticks. What do you think is the sticks significance? It was a way to conceal the bodies, a signature, a ritual, an attempt to mislead the investigators. What's your opinion about the sticks in that crime scene situation? Let's say.
I do not believe that the sticks were to conceal the bodies. They don't. Okay, so I guess I have to ask in have you seen the crime scene photos that were leaked over a year ago?
I saw 2 pictures. I don't know. Yeah,
that's what they are. I mean, it's just 2 photos that, and there's actually like 4, but it's really just like people cropped the same 2. But it's really like those 2 pictures. So they're not to conceal the bodies. That just doesn't. No. It doesn't even conceal anything, and it's not even on top of. It's not even in the direct like top of the girls to conceal them from up top, and then the direction that they're like laid onto them doesn't conceal them from that side, because one is behind, almost kind of behind this big tree that is facing the water. You know what I mean? So you're putting these sticks that are not going to cover them from the right side, in my opinion. Do I think that they're runes? Maybe. And I'll tell you why I'm maybe on that one. But I whatever they are, the person absolutely believe the person who put them there that way intentionally. They didn't just pick up some sticks and throw them over. There's tons of leaf debris. If you wanted to cover the bodies, you wouldn't have to go look for these big old logs to try to cover them. You could have easily shoved some leaf litter all over them. There's no leaves on the girls. That like even if they like did pile them in leaves and like the wind blew, like there's no leaves on the girls. So when I say the rune, my biggest thing about that is the one that's on Abby, and it's bothered me a lot because it is identical to the one on Brad Holder's hand. And when I say identical, like the middle stick is offset almost exactly the same amount as the sticks on Abby. It's uncanny. It's another. Is that a coincidence that somebody? Like the way that it's put together, it's the same. They're like the same length. They're the same. It's the same.
Yeah, that's
that one bothers me. That one, I'm like, is it a rune? If it very well could be. I don't know that it is, but that one's just really weird to me because it's not just like, oh, it's an asterisk. Yeah, no, it's an asterisk with that center one being off just enough that matches Brad Holder's off enough exactly. Coincidence or not, I don't know. It's weird, but whatever they are was intentional.
And one thing that I find very weird in that situation is that for both girls, we have a stick placed just above the throat of the girls. Like, why is that? It's weird. I don't understand. I don't know. To me, it's like some type of signature, but still a mystery. I don't know.
Well, and what like they didn't tell us like in the Franks memo, which we only found out from trial when they were kind of describing the crime scene, is there is like this puddle of blood that's not under the girls, it's at the feet of the girls that also has the same stick figuration on it.
What the fuck?
Like, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's just so much that it's like, you know, Nick wants to build a snowman, and I'm like, come on, dude, do you not see this snowman is melted? Like, it's there. Like, there he is. He's out there in the woods with these sticks everywhere. I don't get it. There's somebody's doing it intentionally. And so here's a weird, just a side thing on this. And I wonder if I have to have the video somewhere. I have no idea where I have it. But there was this girl who just like a Facebook person who was like, I'm going to go visit the crime scene. You know how people do. And so she's out walking the area of the crime scene, like that lower part of Ron Logan's property. And when she's walking, there is a letter. I think it's an R, if I remember. If somebody remembers what I'm talking about, let me know if you remember what. But I'm almost positive it's an R written on the tree behind her. She doesn't even see it. She doesn't even know it's there.
Wow.
And she's just walking, and she's like, yeah, this is where this would have taken place, and this is where this would have taken place. And there's a freaking letters written on the tree right behind her. It was the weirdest thing. I was like, okay, like, come on. We're writing more letters on trees?
That's weird. That's really weird. And I agree with you. It wasn't an attempt to conceal the bodies at all. It doesn't make sense. And if you remember the Lost documentary, when Hannah Shakespeare was talking about that, she said, this was not an attempt to conceal the bodies. It's the opposite. It was an attempt to present the bodies. You know, so yeah, something.
Speaking of Hannah Shakespeare, I believe her new documentary is coming out on Hulu.
Ah, really?
Yeah, and somebody might correct me if I'm wrong, but so there's a new Delphi documentary that's coming out on Hulu. I want to say August. Like I said, somebody in chat will know more than me. I can pull up the article. And it's from Twisted Media, and I'm 99% sure that's Hannah Shakespeare's. August.
It's gonna be the same documentary, or it's gonna be like
no, it's the new one. It's the new one that she stayed there and filmed while and after trial, because she was there for trial, for some days, and then she stayed in that area with a few people from YouTube and interviewed people. So it's all new, and it should have the attorneys from Rick Allen's attorneys, And it also is apparently going to have Kathy Allen.
Wow. Looking forward for that documentary for sure. It's gonna be something. This is an obvious question, like a rhetoric question, but I want to hear your opinion about this. What is the importance of the transcripts that were just released? Why are those transcripts so important? I know it's a stupid question, but I want to know
It's not a stupid question. It's a very good question. Because people actually think like, hey, like it's not important. We don't need to spend any money to get them. And I agree we should not be spending money to get them. Thankfully, in the end, we did not spend money to get this set of transcripts, which is a blessing for all of us. My goal was that we only spend the money one time. And if it takes everybody $5, then it takes everybody $5. And then we have it for legit the transparency of this case. There are very few cases that I feel are so hidden from the public. And it's not just about cameras in the courtroom during trial. It was about everything she did the entire time she was the judge on this case. And then if you take away or you go back and take away anything from from the arrest on and just anything prior, law enforcement was so shady with information for so many years. And this is another reason I don't really care for that law enforcement is they begged the public for help. Help us, help us, help us. Go tell us what you saw. Tell us all these things. And then they would lie to the public and say, we have this, we know this, we have that. They didn't have any of that. We all know now they didn't have any of that. And then they have this arrest of this guy. And then everything that happens with this judge is done in secret. If you remember the beginning of the case, there was no record of anything happening. No motions filed. We didn't get to see anything. Everything wasn't even sealed. It was just not public. It was the weirdest thing because you can normally go on like what I think they call it the CCS there in Indiana. You can normally go on and you click. If you pull up, for instance, even Idaho 4, which people do think is actually cloaked under another cloud of corruption. But so much more is transparent. You go into the Idaho case, you can click on the filings, and if Judge did seal something at that time, he actually put in there, this is sealed, blah, blah, blah. You could see the motion. Hers was empty. The Delphi case was empty for months. There was nothing. And so then they went in and argued like, hey, this stuff needs to be public. So she has her court clerk not put it all public, but put it all like in a like a Google Drive essentially, and says, here, give this to the public. It's a disaster. It's all over the place. You can't put anything. You have to sit here and put it all in order. Everything is named essentially the same thing, so you don't know what it is. It was all just clouded in just bullshit. And so it's like, okay, like how much of that? Okay, are you incompetent at your job? Maybe, or do you just not want the public to see? So as that progresses and we get closer to trial, and she decided to put cameras in the courtroom when she knew she was going to ambush the defense attorneys. She said, you guys have wanted cameras, let's put them in there. But the attorneys didn't go out into the courtroom, so she didn't get everything she wanted, but she lied. She said, I didn't know that was going to happen like in chambers. Well, yes, you did, because you already had a statement pre-written to read to the attorneys, so you knew exactly what you were going to tell them in chambers. And you purposely brought the camera in because you're like, you want to go out into the courtroom, we can do it out there and all will be fine. So she knew she was ambushing them. And then she was like, and this is why we're not going to have cameras in the courtroom anymore, because I said you couldn't turn your camera on until such and such time, and you did it anyway. And Court TV's like, no, that's not what happened. You told us that we couldn't have, that you were going to be here at this time, and that's when we turned the cameras on, but you didn't show up. So they had all the cameras running and got all this courtroom information that she didn't want public, which was like Rosie going in and talking to Kathy and then leaving. And so she was like, that's my excuse for why we're not having cameras in the courtroom. And I'm thinking, bitch, you know how many trials they've shown jurors and don't kick out the cameraman? You don't want the transparency because whatever's happening in this case is unethical at the very least. So for me, when we were living on so much conjecture just by people who were pro-guilty, people who are pro-innocent, people who are just like, I don't fucking know, people with inside scoops, the family controlling half the narrative on social media, the family. I was just like, I'm tired. Like, these are things that we can actually find out factually what happened. Like, it was being said, like, we need the initial hearing because when we get the initial hearing, it's going to be huge. Like, you guys are going to be like so shocked at what happened on October 28th, 2022, when he went into court without an attorney. You guys are just going to be floored. And we get it. And it's like 10 pages long and it's a nothing burger. So it's like, why are you out on social media telling everybody that this is going to be such a big deal? And it's not. And then other things, I mean, that just happened, like with the fact that people were going to the hearings, they're coming back and reporting. It's very biased one way or the other, depending on who you listen to. And at that point, I was listening to everybody. I didn't care. I didn't care if you thought he was innocent. I didn't care if you thought he was guilty. I was listening to everybody. I wanted everybody's opinions because I didn't have one yet. Yeah, so sure. That's why I think that the transcripts are important and why I was happy to be part of a fundraiser to get them from trial, because so many people were there, right? And yet we're reporting different things to the public. Not to mention, the court clerk was not going to release exhibits unless we, the public, happened to know the exhibit numbers to a trial we weren't allowed to watch. So you have to write down the exact exhibit number and then request it from her. So sometimes we screwed up. We had the wrong ones. Sometimes other people didn't screw up, so they got them. The same thing is for the motions. Like, to get the transcripts from Jody for the motions hearings, she wants the same thing. She wants all the exhibit numbers. So that's what I was working on, was making a list of all the exhibit numbers. So yeah. It's just, why hide everything? Why is everything so hidden if you've got nothing to hide? That was my long answer. That was my short answer at the end.
No, the lack of transparency here is just incredible. And you made me remember Skip Jansen. He was in my channel the other time, and he was talking about that. And I remember his words during that show. He said that when you are incompetent, you try to cover your mistakes. You know what I mean? And that leads to corruption. So there's a fine line between incompetence and corruption there. You know what I mean? And talking about Skip Jansen, he has a message for you. He wants to read the documents in your channel.
Okay. So, I love Skip. I mean, I just since the time I met him, I love Skip. He is welcome anytime he ever wants to be anywhere with me.
Okay, that's awesome. And one of the questions I had for you, but you already answered that. One perpetrator or multiple perpetrators? So
multiple. My opinion is at least 3.
What are the elements to say that there were multiple perpetrators here? In my case, I can say that the lack of defensive injuries is just so weird. To me, it's just almost impossible that only one person was able to commit this crime and there were no defensive injuries. You know, it's just crazy. The natural reflex, if I can say that, or reaction is to try to protect yourself in that type of situation. So it's really weird. But oh my God, my microphone just I have an earthquake here. Sorry for that. What do you think? Why do you think that there were multiple perpetrators here? What are the elements that you find in that aspect?
Well, I agree with you. Number one, on defense attorneys, defense wounds. I'm too used to saying attorneys. Apparently, on the defense wounds, there is no defensive wounds. There's no fight back. So I'm trying not to be so long-winded. I'm so sorry, because then I
love if you are long.
So if you look back at Libby takes this video, right? Okay, and so she's deemed for many years the hero of her own story, who records the perpetrator because she knows that there's this weird guy that's behind the other girls, and so she purposely starts taking this video because she's aware that something is wrong, right? Okay, so if you stick with that line of thinking that she's aware something is wrong, why don't they leave? Why don't they run? So then people think gun. I don't believe there even is a gun. I don't even think there's a gun there. I don't think the gun is relevant to anything at this point. So like, okay, you have a gun, so the one doesn't leave. Okay, well, you had plenty of time to leave prior to that. Like you're just walking around and filming, and you're like, okay, yeah, things are great. So my instinct is, if you know something's wrong, your instinct is to flee. Her instinct was to record. It should be to flee. That's my thought process on that. Abby lived down the street. So the fact that like anybody's like, well, where would they go? Well, she knows that the road at the end of her house leads to this bridge. She's lived there for years at this point. She knows where to go. They have a home right there. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like this is unknown territory that they've never been to. Libby's been there multiple times and been told by Kay Weber herself to stop coming on her property and cutting through there, according to Kay Weber. So why don't they leave? Now, some will say, well, they were, you're just so scared you don't know what to do because you've got this stranger who's doing these, doing whatever he's doing. Well, then if you're so scared, why do you record? You're so scared. Why would you take the chance to record it? Like if you think he's going to hurt you, is that your instinct? I don't know. Those things just don't really add up to me. So I feel like they don't leave because they can't leave is really kind of where I'm going to. So I feel like there's somebody else that's at the end there. That's my big one, is that there's somebody, we know somebody's coming from the north end. I believe somebody is also at the south end. And then it's going to take at least two, which I just think it's three just because that's what I think. I don't know if I can actually give you a good reasoning behind that, but I think two in particular, because we know Libby is physically moved and she's not dragged. So she has to be picked up. And in order for her to be picked up, you have to have at least two people there.
So
can you give me 1 second, Cryptex? My husband needs me for just a hot second.
Sure. No worries. Let's wait a little bit for Criminality. Thank you guys for being here. Awesome guest tonight. Epic guest, I would say. So just let's wait a couple of seconds for Teresa to come back. Sleuthy Goosey. Hey, Sleuthy, next time, maybe you're going to be the guest here. Teresa is back.
Sorry.
Everything is fine on your end?
Yeah, everything. You just wanted to know about dinner.
Okay, cool. What do you think about the injuries? Do you think that there were two different weapons? Or, we heard about a serrated blade, a non-serrated blade. What's your idea about that?
If there's, I honestly don't know if there's two different weapons. Once again, that's another thing that there is so much lack of transparency around, is that autopsy. And then you've got Dr. Roland Kaur, who did the autopsy, and he wasn't even sure what the hell he was looking at. And he's obviously more experienced than I am, even if I don't trust him. I don't know if there's two different weapons. I think if there's two different weapons, it's because the minimum of two perpetrators are killing each girl individually. But I don't think that one girl has two different wounds.
Okay.
Coming back, two different weapon wounds. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, but I understand, because that would be another element to say that there were multiple perpetrators. In the case, there were two different type of weapons. You know what I mean? Coming back to the crime scene, the pictures. And you don't have to answer if you don't feel comfortable about this. When I saw the pictures, I see, in my personal case, I see that the face of Libby is some type of, how can I say? It's like if some type of impact was inflicted to her. Her cheek is not normal. I don't know if it's pareidolia, if it's because there's some type of dirt and blood on her face. The nose is weird. This is very sensitive, I know, but do you see something like that or not?
So I do. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think it's, and once again, I don't want to go into too much detail of the graphic part of the scene, but I do think, so her neck is completely slit. Like, I know that people know that from the messages that have been out since the beginning of the case. It's almost like because her face was kind of back a little bit. It's almost like skin slippage, to be honest with you. So I think that's why some of it looks distorted, because this is all now just loose skin, and then the pictures obviously aren't taken until the following day. I think that it's just part of the postmortem.
Yeah.
The way that she is laying there, and then the way that her wound is. That's my opinion. I don't think she's beat. I don't think there's anything on there that shows that, but there's definitely there. So first of all, so anybody who has seen the photos, you guys all know that these photos were cropped. They're taken and altered, like the coloring is altered, then they're screenshotted and sent back and forth. Like there's a lot of stuff happening to the photos. So people who were in court who have seen both those photos that were leaked and the court photos and the ones in court will tell you like that the difference of like the clarity of what we're looking at. So you can't take all of it verbatim because we never saw the ones in court, but she has definitely got so much more blood on her body than Abby. I mean, obviously Abby's clothed, but I mean, there's just face wise and hair wise. I mean, there's just so much more blood.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. I'm glad because it seems that I'm not that crazy. So thank you for.
No, you're not crazy. There's definitely Abby looks like just like a sleeping angel.
Yeah, for
Abby's
sure.
just a doll, like just like a little porcelain doll laying there. And Libby looks like it was rough.
Yeah, another question where there's a lot of division, and you already answered somehow that question, but I'm gonna ask you again. What do you think about the girls crossing the creek? Do you think they crossed the creek, or just one girl, or not at all? What's your opinion about that?
These are tough because my theory is so evolving and changes and could be potentially so many things with the lack of information. If they cross the creek and they're carrying their own clothes, what's to say they didn't drop the clothes into the creek? What, like that there was just they're crossing the creek and they'd already taken off their clothes and they're carrying them, and that's what falls out of their hands, and that's why we have one shoe up and one shoe down. You know what I mean? Like, so there's things like that I think of. Is it, whatever was left over after Abby is dressed, they just, the perpetrator takes it and throws it into the river. Maybe I don't know. There's so many options to that I don't know if I have a solid theory. There's just too many options to it. And like, did they cross the creek? Did they really not cross the creek? I mean, if they did, why aren't the clothes like completely soaked? How do you get those clothes back on? I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
Just the stuff like that's like the stuff that trials will never answer for people. Like you either have to believe a theory or you don't, and it's like you're never, unless you actually have somebody like a BTK who wants to come out and tell you every single thing that happened, you just don't ever know.
Yeah, 100%. Going to the confessions of Richard Allen. What do you think about that? Do you give any credibility to those confessions, especially when we talk about Dr. Wall? My problem there is that we don't have any audio material, any video material. We don't have any notes. We know that that psychologist was very questionable. He was participating in social media, Facebook groups. So it's like we have to take her word for granted. I don't know. And what do you think about that? And I know that you were talking about Dr. Wallet today in your channel, so maybe I want to know your opinion about it.
I think when it first came out and it was like the big thing is like there's like 61 confessions, that he did this. It's like, okay, let me hear them. I want to hear some confessions. Like, are they confessions that are detailing like things that only the killer would know? Because remember, that was like the police's big thing was we're going to keep all this information to ourselves so we have information only the killer would know. So I was like, okay, you have 61 confessions. There's got to be something in there only the killer would know. Well, then you have the whole situation with Walla, which is just she's a mess. I mean, that woman's just a flipping mess. She ends up not even getting to work at Westville anymore anyway, because of all the things that she did. So do I believe the confessions? How can you, when he's talking about that he never cheated on a cigarette and that he killed his best friends when they were, he killed his best friends and his whole family. I mean, he's saying things that aren't accurate. He's saying that he shot them in the back. Well, they're not shot. So that's not, so I don't know. Why do you take some or not? So this is like imagine if this was Keegan Klein. Let me just say that. So imagine this is Keegan Klein and he's in prison and he's saying all these different crazy things. Do we go, oh, Keegan Klein told the truth just this one time when he said he killed them? Because if that's the case, Keegan Klein admitted that he was there when they died. So do we believe Keegan Klein? Why doesn't anybody believe Keegan Klein then? He's not being pumped full of Haldol. He's in there just admitting it freely. Then you have like Elvis Fields, who's admitting it to his sister the next day and handing her a blue bloody coat. So why doesn't his confession count? So I don't know. You have to kind of just take them all at face value. People confess to shit. I've done so many things when it came, like in my criminology courses, when it came to confessions, false confessions, what creates false confessions. Medication like that is a huge red flag. So why would I trust it when you can't get the confession out of him when he's sitting right in front of you? You have to resort to putting him under a safekeeping order when there's no issue with his safety whatsoever in a jail cell, which was proven because he went to a jail cell and remained safe. So there's no issue with that. There's no issue with the fact that like Keegan Klein is out here, like I said, he's out here confessing to people. Nobody seems to care. Nobody believes him. I don't know. Why are we going to pick and choose what we believe? Then you have Richard Allen, who's like, I think I confessed. They're saying I confessed. Or if he says, I think I did it, they're counting that as a confession. I must have done it because they said I did it. They're counting that as a confession. Those aren't confessions. So these 61 confessions aren't there. When you go through what was presented in trial, I mean, I could probably pull it up and actually count it for you, but it's closer to like maybe 10 times where he says, I killed the girls, I killed Abby and Libby. I don't have an exact count, so don't quote me on that number, but I can pull up the spreadsheet and go through it there. But I don't know. I just don't. I don't believe it.
Yeah, to me, the confessions are very questionable. As you said, there's a lack of details. I killed Abby and Libby. It doesn't tell you anything. Mm-hmm. When a killer is actually confessing, he's gonna give you the details about that. In the case of Keegan Klein, he gave a lot of details. You know what I mean?
So that was another thing I was just gonna say. Like we learned by reading transcripts from Vito yesterday that Keegan Klein goes out with Jerry Holman and drives Jerry Holman around on this route that he says that he would have taken, right? And they're like, well, you would have passed the Hoosier Harvest Store, so you're not on camera, so therefore your whole story is a lie, right? But Richard Allen comes in and sits down in an interrogation, and he's like, no, I would have, it's been a few years, but I typically would drive up right here, I would come around, and then I would park over here. Would never go by the Hoosier Harvest Store, and they're like, no, you're wrong. You were on Hoosier Harvest Store's camera. So it's like, what you just make it whatever you want it to be. There's no proof that that's his car. Like, why don't we need anything other than that? Like, so if that's the case, how do we know that Keegan Klein didn't just lie about what vehicle he was in? Or why don't we say he lied about what path he took, and so he wouldn't have been on Hoosier Harvest Store? It's just like we come up with our own reasoning behind, like, this is okay that he lies about all of these things, but when he says it has to be the way that it is. That's where I'm kind of at. I do not believe that Richard Allen is BG. That could piss you off, Anthony. I'm sure it will, but I do not. I do not believe that Richard Allen is BG.
Oh man, I actually think that Keegan Klein he didn't say that he was in a red Jeep. It was a story made by law enforcement, but that's another story for another show. Again, the only confession where we can see a lot of details is the confession that he made allegedly to Dr. Walla. And again, that's very questionable. I don't buy that.
Are you gonna talk about the white van? Is that what you're about to bring up, Cryptex?
Yeah,
because it's not true. We all know it's not true.
Elaborate.
It's that he couldn't have told anybody that because it wasn't true. So now it's, if he told people that, if he really did say that to Dr. Walla, it's inaccurate information. So what about that? Like, does anybody care that it's not actually legit information? There was no white van there at the time that he's saying that he killed the girls. And if the white van isn't there until 2:45, then how are the girls dead and their cell phones not moving after 2:32, which is according to Nick's timeline of when he thinks everything happened? Like, you cannot have both. So that is not information only the killer would know, especially when there's multiple people, which I have documentation of, who are talking and saying that Brad Weber's van, that the killer saw Brad Weber's van, and that's how, that's what scared him and made him go across the creek. Well, you can't go across the creek if there's no damn van, right? There's no damn van. So what do you do?
In the transcript,
it has nothing to do with anything.
In the transcripts, the wording is white van or just van?
Oh, it's just van. It does. I mean, either way, it's van because it's his van. It's Brad Weber's van is who they testify to, which is a white van. He does not say white. You are correct. It's just van. But either way, it's that, if that's what's happening. Otherwise, you're talking about a van that never shows up on camera over there, or it would be trespassing.
Yeah. Awesome point you have there. What about the geofencing data not being allowed to be part of the process and other weird stuff that I really don't understand at all? What do you think about that? It blows my mind. Huh? It's crazy.
My thought process on that type of information not being allowed is the same thing that Judge Gull wanted to constantly say about anything the state wanted admissible. She consistently told Brad and Andy, why don't you just put it in front of the jury and let them decide? Essentially is what she's saying. Like, use it for, you know, I don't remember the exact words that she used. Somebody in chat will probably remember. We just read it today too, and I can't remember it. But like, we're going to put it in front of the jury. It's going to be more for what they have to say about it versus what the factual basis is behind it. So why not put Kevin Horan on the stand? Why not allow Kevin Horan to take the stand and explain what he does and why he does it and what it's actually used for? For Nick to sit there and say that this information is worthless makes no sense. Why are you having anybody do this information? Why do we continue to pay a group of people that work for the FBI CAS team to continue to gather this data that you're deeming worthless? Why, if it's worthless, why the fuck are we looking for it? And why are we using it in any investigation? And then what about all the trials that have actually convicted people that have used geofencing? Was it worthless to them? And if that's the case, like, Nick at this point in his career will never be able to use geofencing for a trial ever, because his words will come back to bite him.
Yeah, for sure. It's just, it doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make sense. And one interesting thing here also is the...
Thank you, Sony. There, I can't click on the comment, but that's what she says, and I couldn't think of the right wording. It goes to the weight of the evidence and not the admissibility.
Good point.
I just couldn't think of that damn wording to save my life.
What about the abnormal behavior of the cell phone? I don't think that the prosecution and the defense, I think that they were not prepared during the process to explain the performance of the behavior of the cell phone activity. We know that one of the experts from the prosecution, he was doing like a Google search during the process. It's a huge improvisation, you know what I mean? Improvising about that, it blows my mind. So he was not an expert, actually. I can do that. I can go to a process to take my cell phone and
you are an expert
in Google, you know, it's crazy. And the fact that the defense was not able to challenge that situation, to me, is like they were not prepared in that sense. What do you think about the whole cell phone scenario? Do you buy the water damage explanation? What's your takeaway?
So I listened to Stacey Eldridge, who was the the phone expert, which I wish the defense would have probably recalled her or something along. I don't know why the way they ended the trial was kind of off to me, but nothing we can do about it. It's not our trial. But when I listen to like Stacey Eldridge talk about like the phone, it makes sense to me that there's no way that it would show up on the report the way that it showed up on that report if it wasn't actual, like that there wasn't something actually plugged into it. And because there was ways that like water damage, and just in layman's terms, if you have water damage to your phone, you can easily check that. Nothing on any report leading up to trial, which is years, nothing on any report done by any phone person said that the phone had water damage. So for him to go and Google it and be like, yeah, water damage can do it. Well, why? Where is it reported that the phone even had water damage? Because it's easy to see especially on an iPhone. They just look in the little thing. Like you go to take your phone in and they'll tell you it's got water damage real quick. I mean, the layman's at T-Mobile can tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the phone expert should be able to see it. The fact that he could go out into the hallway and Google search it and that became evidence from an expert is beyond crazy. That is beyond crazy. But that's Goal. And that's when, that's just the final touch of how Judge Goal ran this entire trial, this entire case, and allowed Nick just to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. Now, there should have, if they had the right guy, if Rick Allen's the right guy and he did all these things, none of that was necessary.
Exactly.
Just do it the right way. Why was any of that? Why is all of these crazy shenanigans necessary to get to that point if he's the guy? Like, for me, I don't know how people don't question that. Like we see other cases where things are happening and the way that the process is going between attorneys, between the judge, between the defendant. Like you see the processes and you go, okay, like this makes sense. And there's a good flow here. You may not agree with all the the determinations of the judge, but like that's just like unfathomable. Like you cannot have an expert who's using Google and not even using like actual expert data. They're using the freaking iPhone forum, like where people are just on there talking. It's just us. It's like, I'm gonna go to Criminality's channel real quick and see what they had to say because they probably know. That's the same shit. It's not that's not expert testimony. I just don't get that. I don't know. So you can't really explain the water damage situation. There's water in it. But she crosses the creek at 2:30. It gets this water in it, right? Okay, so now her phone is working, and I don't have all the exact times, but her phone is working up until what, 5:30, which is when there's still people are still calling it and whatnot. And then at 10 o'clock, it's still pinging. 10:30, it's still pinging. But then all of a sudden, the phone, it gets colder and moister in the middle of February. It's colder and moister in the middle of the night, but yet this phone with water damage dries out at 4:30 in the fucking morning. What? It's not like it stayed out in the sun all day and then it dried out. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
No.
And then it was only at a 4% battery.
I agree with you. It doesn't make sense. That question is not yet closed. We don't have, in my opinion, we don't have the answer, or I don't buy the water damage explanation. Yes,
I guess for me, if I'm sitting on that jury, I just need, I need a lot more to say I'm putting this man away for the rest of his life for killing two girls. Like I just don't. And I've watched a lot of trials. I've seen crazier things where there's just lack of evidence and people in the jury just is like, they just buy into the whole, the state. We trust the state. We trust the police. They had to have done the right thing. I mean, it comes down to it. Like the defense team wasn't even allowed to attack the investigation. Yeah. I mean, that sucks. Like when you have a judge who's just really giving you nothing to defend your client, like why not put all of it out there? I always said, put it all in front of the jury. Let the jury decide. They don't need to know all the little tiny nuances. I don't mean that. But the actual evidence. Why collect geofencing for you to in turn say, I don't want to use it, so now the defense can't use it? Bullshit. You did it. You thought it was important to have it done. And you can't pull the whole, well, I wasn't the prosecutor at the time. So, no, you were the prosecutor at the time. You have the cast team working on it. why not use the data unless it's not beneficial to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excellent point.
It doesn't make sense. Like I said, if I was on the jury, whether you people in chat think he did it, didn't do it, if you're on a jury, do you not want something more to say, I'm going to put this man away for the rest of his life? I don't know. I do. I want more.
100%. I don't think the state proved the case. That's my opinion. When I compare, I know that this is not probably comparable, let's say, but when I compare this case with the Karen Reed's case, we could see Karen Reed going out there to talk about the case, to talk about her innocence, and that gives you some type of trust. You know what I mean? Do you think that, because sometimes I think that people that believe that Richard Allen is innocent is fighting so hard, even harder than him. You know what I mean? If he goes out and he tells his story, that would be helpful to clarify a lot of stuff, a lot of questions. What do you think about that?
So let me just say, if I'm Richard Allen and my story is that I went to my mom's house and she was going to go to lunch with my sister and I didn't really feel like having lunch, so I just went home and I was like, yeah, you know what, let's go out and hang out at the trails. I'll just go for a walk because my wife's at work. My daughter's moved in with her boyfriend, almost husband. I got nothing else going on. I'll just take a walk. So I'll go out to the trails. I'll take a walk. And, then I'm like, oh, hey, I want to go home, check my stocks. My phone's not doing the best that it can out here because it's, piece of crap. Whatever. I'm going to go home. I'll check my stocks and do my stuff. And, then I just hang around my house all day. So I come out to the public and on a huge platform. And I tell you, that's my story. People said this after trial, like, what's his alibi? Well, he doesn't have an alibi. That's the whole thing. The whole thing is he's alone. So, but sometimes people are just alone. Like, if you've never been alone in your life, that's sad because I love my alone time. But sometimes people are just alone. So what story does he come out and tell? I went home and I sat on my couch. I don't know what else he could really say to the public. It's not like I was over here and I should be on camera and they never ever went and got it from, like, I was at work that afternoon and they just won't even bother to check my time card. He doesn't have anything to say. He doesn't have anything to go out there and tell. But people are like, why didn't Kathy Allen testify to give him an alibi? Well, she wasn't his alibi. He doesn't have one. That's his issue. That's the whole fucking issue here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just don't know what story he would tell besides coming out and proclaiming his innocence. You're going to have people who say you're lying and you're going to have people who say you're telling the truth. And that was another big thing, like you're saying, like proclaiming their innocence. People did talk about that a lot, like leading into trial. Like, why isn't he proclaiming his innocence? Like, when he walks into the courtroom, why isn't he being like, I'm innocent? Well, fuck, he's fucking drugged on Haldol, first of all, most of the time that he's even in court. And then two, if he did that, he'd fucking look crazy too. I'm innocent. Like, what? People aren't going to like, oh, well, he did say he was innocent when he came into the courtroom, even though he looked all fucking crazy. Yeah. These are no-win situations. People will think one way or they're going to think another. I don't think there's any point in him coming out and saying, I went home and sat there by myself the entire afternoon. And by the time my wife got home, she found me asleep on the couch.
Yeah, I get your point. Another random question here for you, Teresa. Teresa in my Latino accent. At one point, the defense, they had a list of 4 witnesses to testify during the process. We had Keegan Klein, Racy Davis, James Haas, and Brian Chadwell. We understand why Keegan Klein was in that list, in my opinion. Racy Davis also, we know the whole story about Racy Davis, the confessions that Ron Logan made to him about a box cutter in 2017, and information that only the killer would know. James Haas, another inmate that was in the same cell with Ron Logan at the time. And Ron Logan confessed to James Haas. But we had also James Brian Chadwell. It's very intriguing for me. I don't know why Chadwell was in that list. why do you think that Chadwell was there? I don't understand yet. Do you think that Chadwell
back when he was arrested and brought back from whatever state it was that he was in, I don't remember now. The articles were coming out that he confessed that he wanted to plea deal. He was going to plea
for the Delphi's
for the Delphi stuff. That's only in news articles. I'd have to go back and find them for you. But that was when I saw his name on the list. That was the only reason I could come up with at that time.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. And to me, I know that this is far-fetched, but to me, Chadwell is like the perfect suspect in this type of cases. He was like a mix between the type of guy who is always in Snapchat, in Facebook, catfishing people, and at the same time,
description-wise, he also looks like Bridge Guy.
Yeah, and he was like fascinated with bridges, in the being in creeks, camping. To me, it was like the perfect guy there. But
and then he took off shortly after.
Sorry?
He took off out of the state like shortly after. I don't remember the exact timeline. It's been a long time since I've looked into him.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So that guy was always here in my brain.
That's why I'm like, all these people confessed, but well, people only want to care about the one person that confessed. What about all these other people that confessed?
Oh shit. What about the side-by-sides? What do you think? I think this is some type of I don't know, when you think that your suspect is the guy, you're gonna say that he looks exactly like Bridge Guy. So people that think that Richard Allen looks like a Bridge Guy, they're gonna say it's the same person. It's gonna be the same thing with Ron Logan. To me, the side-by-side comparison are just like useful. I don't know, what do you think about that?
As somebody who followed this case for a very long time on social media, I cannot tell you how many people we put side by side with both of those sketches and saw a resemblance. So do I disagree with people that Richard Allen doesn't resemble these two in some way? Like if you look at just this part or just that part, I'm going to say probably, but everybody that we put up next to I could probably go back in my phone and find you lots and lots of side by sides of random ass people that we just were like, this guy looks like him. You have James Chadwell, there's side-by-sides of him. You've got Tony Klein, side-by-side of one with Keegan Klein being the side-by-side of the other. People were like, I see it. We did, oh my gosh, what's that guy's name? Why can't I remember it? This was one of the other big ones.
Daniel Nations?
No, the guy who came out and said that he knew that Bridge Guy was his dad and like threw his dad under the bus, and then he started like a YouTube channel throwing his dad under the bus throughout the whole thing.
Sean Harmon? Sean something.
Yeah, I think that's right. Shane, maybe. Yes, yeah. I think that's it. And he was like throwing his dad out there. We have side-by-sides of him. I mean, there was so many people that I was like, I can see it because you can see it. So like when people are like, I don't know how you can't see the Bridge Guy is Richard Allen. I'm like, dude, do you know how many times we said that to ourselves over the 5 years prior of like, this guy looks just like this sketch? And I'll do the whole Doug Carter thing. Sketch is not a photograph, but their sketches happen to actually be better than the photograph. So I think there's so many people. I mean, okay. If you've listened to the channel, you probably already know this, but when I very first started following the Delphi case, I had two suspects, and I've said this for a long time. One was Tobe Lesenby, because there's part of that Bridge Guy video that you can absolutely see a mustache. You can see a mustache. And then there's other ones where you can't. So like if I wanted to sit here and argue like that Bridge Guy has a mustache, I could show you many, many stills of that video that looks like the dude has a mustache, right? And then I could show you other ones where it's like, no, he's like a baby face. He doesn't have anything there. And my second suspect was actually Brad Weber. But then we were told by Kay that he wasn't home until 3:30. So, but then now we come to find out that we actually have other messages from Brad Weber himself where he says he got home at 2:45. So, that's right. But I'm just saying, so if I wanted to sit here and argue how much I think those sketches, look at the original, the old guy, Bridge Guy, and compare it to Tobe Lesenby. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It looks, it's so similar. I could find so many things. Or James Duvall, like that's a huge one. People really thought it was him. It looks just like him. That sketch looks just like him, but he's alibied. He actually had an alibi.
Okay. He looks very similar to Richard Allen as well, huh? Duval.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man. And
okay, Cryptex, I do this. I say take the old bridge guy sketch and put your picture next to it. And let's see how many similarities there are between you and the old bridge guy.
I'm gonna be convicted the next day.
You are, right? Yeah, don't you dare wear sweatpants, because if you wear sweatpants to talk to Holman, you're done.
Yeah, my God, this is crazy. What about the voice comparisons? The voice sample we have from Bridge Guy, Guys Down the Hill, is very short. It's a couple of seconds, let's say. So according to the experts in voice analysis, they say that it's impossible to compare that voice sample to anything, you know? So people say today, after listening to the Richard Allen's interviews, that it's the same voice. To me, that's just crazy, and it's like a confirmation bias. So I don't know.
Law enforcement, prior to an arrest, told us that you could not use the voice as the sole, like, this is who did it, because they were told by the experts that there were not enough syllables said to be able to determine who it was.
Exactly.
So this kind of goes along with the whole sketch thing too. It's like people are like, how do you not see that that's Richard Allen? How do you not see that bridge guy is Richard Allen? How do you not hear that's Richard Allen's voice? And I just have the question, if it was so obvious to the world, like these people claim it is now, it was so obvious to the world that that's Richard Allen's voice, those sketches are of Richard Allen, or that's Richard Allen on the bridge guy video, why the fuck did nobody arrest this guy for 5.5 years? Because it's not like he was hiding. They saw him. Not only did law enforcement see him, Tobe Lesenby says he came face-to-face with him. He helped him at CVS. The family talked to him. More importantly, the witnesses, the eyewitnesses from the trail that day, have interacted with Richard Allen at CVS and didn't recognize him. So for all the internet folks who were like, it's 100% his voice, it's 100%, you can tell it's him on the bridge, nobody could fucking tell that actually stood there next to him talking to him. So you cannot tell either. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, I can't tell it's somebody else. That's why I don't have, like, I can't say that is absolutely so-and-so. I can't say that. I don't know, because there's not enough to be able to say that's who it is. So it was very ironic to me that Nick ended up using multiple versions of this voice recording in, see, that's not true. You want me to give you, there's not one person. You want me to give you multiple people who match the timeline and admit to being there? I can give you multiple people. This is, you have blind vision. You are blindly focused on that he is the right guy. And that's fine. I don't care. You have faith in a system that I don't have faith in. I do not trust the people that you trust. That's the bottom line. But I can tell you, don't ignore the other people who are there at the exact same time and admit to being there at the exact same time. That's it.
That's it.
So if all those people can be there at that time and are not guilty, why cannot somebody else be there at that time? And he doesn't admit to being there at that time. That's another side point. He admits to being there earlier in the day. But he did not report that he was there at 1:30 p.m.
Yeah. Dave McCain, one of them?
Dave McCain, one of them, says he got there around 2:15. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's so close to law enforcement. I don't feel that he was fully investigated in this case.
And his brother was out there riding his bike, caught on camera across the street.
Yeah. So
there's multiple people that are there, and we just ignore that they were ever there. So sure. Daniel Pearson was there at the same time. You know, we have what's his name, David Riley, that was there at the same time, also walking a dog, which one of the girls in her original statement says the guy she saw earlier in that day was walking a dog. Like, we just ignore all the other stuff. That's problematic for me, and I can't ignore everything just to say this is who it is. Why are we ignoring all the other information? We just act like it doesn't exist. I struggle with that. My brain can't comprehend that and just say, I'm sorry, I don't care that there's all this other information out there, or there's other people who were there who should have seen, known, saw, said something, but we just act like they don't exist. We act like the only people on the trail at this time are Bridge Guy and these two girls, and it's simply not true. It's not factual information. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it.
No, you just said.
Oh, the audio. That's where this started. This started with the audio.
Yeah, related to the audio and to the video, to me it's not yet clear. The video that was released, is that the actual video that was extracted from Libby's phone, or is that a stabilized, enhanced video? It's not clear for me.
I have no fucking idea.
Yeah,
so here's the thing. Here's the thing about this. Oh, you're bringing up the Bridge Guy video. Here's I think I need another Dr. Pepper. So the video gets posted to this website, the rickallenjustice.com, I think is what it is. It gets posted to the website. I get sent a link to this website, but I can't figure out how to download the video from the website. But then I'm told that Sleuthy posted on Twitter. So I go to Twitter and I grab it from hers. That's how, so I get it that way. Then I go live. I upload it to the channel first, and then I go live discussing the video. I don't know anything about the video besides what the website says. The website said that it came from, I don't remember what, because they changed it later, but it was very basic, like from the defense team. I'm not going to quote it right, so I probably shouldn't even try. That it was like the original video. So like we're going back and forth on the stream, like, is this the original video? Like we're being told it's the original video. I didn't have a clue. Like I just didn't know. It looked really clear and really stabilized. So I'm like, if this is the original video, and we are for sure that it is, like we're not, I'm not, but if that's what we're saying, we can prove that it is, then what the hell did Nick show in the trial? Number one. Or was this like, is this a stabilized version and it's, one of the other exhibits? So then multiple people, it wasn't just one, multiple people that were following the chat start sending me, why can't I think, like the geolocation, why can't I think of the words, the info from the pictures, the info from the video, the metadata. Yes, thank you. I was like, sometimes I lose it. So they start sending me the metadata, and all of it is coming back to February 13th, 2017. And the longitude and latitude, when we go plug it in, does show up over by the high school. So you remember like how they said that was like a whole big deal with the metadata, was that it actually starts over by the high school and then it like zones in and gets like closer to the actual bridge. So all these people are sending me all this metadata info, and it's all the same, and they're not using the same like technology to find their metadata info, but it's all coming back the exact same. It's coming back at the same time, coming back the same longitude, latitude. So I'm like, I'm thinking this is the OG video because this matches everything that the OG video supposedly has. Now, if they go in and they do some, I'm not a tech person. I've said this 1,000 times. I don't know shit about tech. I am not good with tech. I normally contact somebody else to help me with it. So I'm like, if somebody was to go in and alter the video, like let's say they stabilized it, right? Like that's one of the versions, or they slow it down, or they do anything like that metadata now changes to whatever that video that was created, right? Like that's my layman's thoughts. I can't see how it's not the original video based on information I was given from all these people who sent me their metadata. That's all I got. I don't know. I have no idea. It's very weird.
Yeah, it is. It is. And in the same sense, when we do some type of side-by-sides, are we using an actual video to compare pictures? You know what I mean? Yeah. So how can you do a side-by-side if the video was enhanced or interpolated or manipulated? At the end, you are not working with the original material. You know what I mean?
If that's the original video, why even manipulate it? It's so damn clear. I mean, I could see that you need to manipulate it and straighten it up, but it's so clear. It's so much clearer than I thought it was. It's almost like the enhanced version is shittier.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my God.
So what do you think? Do you think it's the OG video?
I don't know. That's why I was asking. I don't have any idea. No idea. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. And I don't understand that explanation for the enhancement process. They talk about interpolation. It was not clear what was the process of manipulation of that video. To me, is again, lack of transparency is not. I don't know.
So here's the easiest fix from like the state of Indiana that just doesn't do it. Multiple people have requested exhibits from the trial, which include the Bridge Guy videos and the Bridge Guy enhanced videos and all the altered videos. Why are they keeping anything to do with the Bridge Guy video like under wraps? It's not sealed by the court. There's no reason that it wasn't put out with all the exhibits. Why didn't anybody get it?
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing of like, if we just, why are we trusting that they actually showed that video in court? I don't know why we would trust that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So people are laughing about my accent, but this is part of the charm of the channel. I don't want to abuse of your time. I know you are very tired. Maybe one last question for you. What do you think about the bullet? Do you think that I guess that your idea is that this is junk science because we are comparing oranges with apples? But if I go further, what do you think that there's a possibility that the bullet was planted there, or not at all? Or what do you think about that?
No, I don't. I'm not of the belief that this was like a law enforcement went and planted a bullet at the crime scene, if that's what you mean. Is there something to a theory behind them planting it at Richard Allen's house, like one that matched? There's probably more to that than there is anything else, simply because him and his wife both were like, I have no idea that's there. My husband doesn't have stuff inside that I'm like, I don't know what the hell that is. Like, where did that come from? So if you're going to go like with planted, which I'm not really quite there, the fact that the one from the crime scene and the one in the box are Winchester and the other ones are not, like everything else he owned was not, there's something weird about that to me. But ultimately it all becomes irrelevant because she had to fire that weapon in order to make it match whatever she thought she saw on the unspent round. Now we know that they collected guns from multiple other suspects. I might be tired because my brain is like starting to malfunction. I apologize. The freaking people they did the first warrant on, I can't even think of their damn name right now.
No, it's fine. You are exhausted.
The one they did the very first warrant on Bicycle Lane. Come on, somebody help me with it. They took that gun. They took Brad Weber's 40 cal, and they don't fire any of those. Maxwell, thank you. They don't fire any of those guns to try to make a match, and Brad Weber's couldn't be excluded. So why not? If that would mean that the unspent round from Rick Allen's gun would be the same as Brad Weber's, and Brad Weber's not arrested. Brad Weber's not in prison for 130 years. Because they're both inconclusive, you can't actually match it.
Yeah.
So what about? I think I don't think there's anything planted. There were so many unspent rounds and casings out there on that property, and we know that Brad Weber. Hunted. He had all kinds of weird shit over by his property. You have the Sandefers and all the others down there on the south side. You got all kinds of people out there shooting guns. I don't think there was a cop who was like, let's put this unspent round over here by the bullet and see what happens. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we should stop here. I think you should rest, and I'm gonna save you for a part 2.
Do it.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
I'm glad you don't think I talk too much, because sometimes I talk too much. If he doesn't invite me back, it's because I talk too much, you guys. But it's okay because I love you anyway.
I'm so glad you accepted the invitation. So it was great. I want to finish the streaming with this, if you agree.
Let's do it. Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. I'm gonna hang out while we watch this, and then I'll hop down.
She's the queen of the screen, Teresa's the name. CriminaliTy, bringing fire, she's changing the game. From the mic to the cam, she's dropping it raw. Every vid that she makes got the crowd in awe. CriminaliTy, yeah, she's the boss, no stress, cool and genuine, she's the best of the best. Teresa's got the vibe, make it ignite, let's dance to her rhythm, cause she's taking the mic. Real talk, she's the truth, no cap, she's legit. Every story she tells, y'all, it's always a hit. From the heart to the screen, she's keeping it true. CriminaliTy's the star and she's coming for you, so turn it up loud, let the whole world see. Teresa, CriminaliTy, you're the VIP, this is your intro, let the crowd cheer. The queen's in the house, yo, Teresa's right here. Beat fades out with reggaeton demo rhythm.
One more time.
She's the queen of the screen, Teresa's the name. CriminaliTy, bringing fire, she's changing the game. From the mic to the cam, she's dropping it raw. Every vid that she makes got the crowd in awe. CriminaliTy, yeah, she's the boss, no stress, cool and genuine, she's the best of the best. Teresa's got the vibe, make it ignite, let's dance to her rhythm, cause she's taking the mic. Real talk, she's the truth, no cap, she's legit. Every story she tells, y'all, it's always a hit. From the heart to the screen, she's keeping it true. CriminaliTy's the star and she's coming for you, so turn it up loud, let the whole world see. Teresa, CriminaliTy, you're the VIP, this is your intro, let the crowd cheer. The queen's in the house, yo, Teresa's right here. Beat fades out with reggaeton demo rhythm.
Okay, see you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, T. See you next time. Awesome streaming tonight.